Wonderful. Thank you so much. So to start things off, what does your work as a playwright and director look like?
What does my work look like?
Yes.
Uh, Kind of like a cow sleeping. It's it's big. It's meant to be kind. It probably speaks a different language, and it's a little bit uh, messy, a little bit asymmetrical. So the the work uh, takes off from fairy tales and the Bible, and uh, wants to read as as if it's a few different versions at the same time. And in terms of playing, it requires um, patience and compassion. Um, I don't know that it's all that good, but it's it's what I got, you know.
I'm sure it's wonderful.
Hmm.
Um, so you said that it takes inspiration from fairy tales in the Bible. Could you tell me a little more about that?
It's what I grew up with, and uh, I spent my life trying to kind of get back to that. A, a, a sort of naive place where um, uh, things are uh, real in uh, the deepest ways. A story is worth telling or listening to if it uh, brings you closer to the cause of things rather than to effects. So the uh, s- stories um, sit before reason.
Hmm. That's really interesting.
Hmm.
And kind of shifting towards Theater Without Borders, what does your role with that organization look like?
I would say I have no role outside of being a cheerleader. I I've been lucky enough to sit in the sit in rooms with really remarkable people and uh, be moved by people's courage and imagination. But I effectively don't do much besides applaud. You know.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're one of four founders of Theater Without Borders. What
Hmm.
need did you see in the world that propelled you to start the organization?
Again, I would say that the motive force and the organizing surety of the organization is in better heads. Uh, Roberta, of course, and Katrine and Daniel um, are um, better workers inside and outside of the organization. They have tremendous uh, bravery and stamina and imagination. Um, uh, uh, may, uh, Maybe I had accidental or momentary dramaturgical impact um, because an audience was available to them. They could um, hear themselves a little bit more clearly, but I can't imagine that I added anything to what was already in their heads.
I'm sure you had a wonderful impact. And that kind of leads me into my next question, which is you mentioned that you act as like a cheerleader for Theater Without Borders. Have you seen or experienced any instance where the organization has had a direct impact on somebody's life? It could be your own or somebody that you've worked with.
Uh, the organization is um, uh, political in mission, aesthetic in function, uh, moral in comportment, meaning it is uh, advocating for a political culture that is honest and compassionate, and to bring political power to renewed humanity. They need an artistic language, a language that is forceful and informed, um, uh, uh, but that grips the heart. And then moral in comportment, in the sense that we support each other as a family or a circle of friends might support each other, rather than as a hierarchy. Given those structures, I don't think we can pretend that we've redirected the course of nations, but I know the work of Roberta, Daniel, and Katrine have destabilized audiences in the right ways. They've shaken people open. People have been surprised to see or hear their own stories, or to discover in the theater a space that's safe for dreaming. So to reclaim a theater, but also to reclaim a street, or an old KKK lodge, and suggest that something new can happen in those environments is can be revelatory. And I know the artists in TWB have gotten there.
That's wonderful. That's a very valuable insight. And have you worked with any projects under Theater Without Borders that you would like to mention?
Theater Without Borders, I would say, is kind of a mentor to my writing. So it has the impact on my work that no theater, or now flamenco, have on my work, which is more or less total. That I can't imagine writing a play that doesn't have song or dance or puppets in it. And I can't imagine a play that doesn't have Theater Without Borders in it. This sense of a longing for peace, and an invitation to risk sensitivity. So yeah, all of it, I guess.
Yeah, that's wonderful. One more question. Can you tell me a little about the regional alternative theater movement?
It's a while ago now, but it was a pre-internet impulse to get people together. And I'm often moved when I see a movie that has a sheepdog in it, one of those border collies, that there is something in me that is not as skilled as that, but that has the same drive to make circles and to bring things together. Yeah. So what was the question?
Just could you tell me a little bit about it?
Oh, the rat. Right, right, right. So rat was that effort. Uh, there were people who were making theater, working really hard at a very high level, uh, but working kind of alone. And I saw some overlaps. For example, theaters were doing Mac Wellman plays, which was kind of a, 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 a template for courage. And so I just got all the theaters I could think of that were doing Mac Wellman plays or Jeff Jones plays or Susan Laurie Parks plays. And, invited people into rooms together, and we shared peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and um, uh, kind of committed to showing up together over a period of time. And so that was about 10 years. And then overlapping, there was uh, in the interest of understanding cultural response to genocide, there for 10 years I traveled to Africa with student groups, Rwanda and Uganda. And then there was Arts in the One World, which was a sort of a conference technology that brought people together in a slightly different format. And now I'm interested in John Paul Lederach, who's been very influential on TWB and on so many people, has been talking about spiders lately. And so I'm interested in giving 10 years over to the idea of being a spider, meaning living in network. So we just had a fringe festival here in Albuquerque, and part of it was the spider convening, where people just hung out. And the only agenda is a commitment to convening. So off on another 10-year project.
That's wonderful. So it sounds like your all of your personal work is really aligned with Theater Without Borders mission.
Yeah, it's Theater Without Borders is uh, the the rock star on the playlist of my life. You know, it's the music of Theater Without Borders is what I dance to.
That's so lovely.
Mm.
Well, thank you so much for meeting with me and for answering my questions.
Sure. Thanks for making it so simple. And yeah, great. And I'm glad you're doing this and helping out.
Of course, it's my
Yeah.
pleasure.
All right.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks. And any follow up, let me know. And I'm
Thank you so
happy.
much.
You got it. Bye bye.
Bye.